G'day, Steve Morgan here on a Friday afternoon in the back corner of the Fishing Monthly magazine's car park for Tackle Fridays. Last week we were on the road back from Tinaroo. This week we've been back in the office and I've been doing a little bit of work on this thing. This is the Alloy Craft P445, 4.5 metre flat bottom punt, 1.5 metre beam, big long square fishing platform, and we are getting this ready, well, probably for next year's Bass Electric series, but to do all of our local work on bass, on Hinds Dam, all of the impoundments that we're not allowed to use a petrol motor on. I think it's been no secret that this rig here, I'm going to lend to someone fishing each of those Bass Electric Tour events next year so they can experience this. Mercury's 35E Avator. This is one of the bigger brothers of the original 7.5E Avator that both the Bass Electric Tour and ABT's Bass Electric series gave away in the last few years. So new, it's still got all the plastic on it. A lot of questions get asked about this. I've had this on the water once before. I had it on the water with a longer shaft motor. I've got the right length shaft now. This is a 15-inch shaft on this, not a 20-inch shaft. Initially, with the motor, the batteries, and nothing on this boat, I was getting 17 kilometres an hour out of this rig. And with two batteries, there was 12 kilometres of range. But in this one here, I've got 4 batteries for this. They're all 56 volters. They run in parallel so that as you add batteries to the stack, you get more and more range. So 2 batteries gives you 12 kilometres of range. 4 batteries gives you 24 kilometres of range at wide open throttle. The cool thing about the way the curve works is if I back off from say 17 kilometres an hour to 10 kilometres an hour, I over double that range. So I think anything that I want to use in a day, I can go 10 kilometres an hour for, but if I really have a short run for the day, I can get this thing up on the plane and away we go. So it's going to be interesting to bring you some videos of that when we finally get it out on the water. But let's just show you what we've done, what we put together for it. Like the Bass Grand Finals, I've got an Oceanic trailer. Dave at Oceanic Trailer sold me this trailer for it. Very simple rig. It is braked, although I don't think I really need brakes because it's going to be under 750 kilos. Easy drive on, drive off. That's pretty simple. The boat itself is an Alloy Craft, the same brand that they give away in the ABT, both the Bass and the Brim series. We gave away Alloy Craft 498s this year, which were a little bit longer, but they were bass boat style. And I'll give you a bit of a heads up. It looks like next year, the Brim guys are fishing for an Alloy Craft 530, maybe with 150 horsepower on the back, and the Bass guys are probably fishing for something a little bit smaller, so keep an eye out for that in 2025. A lot of the gear on this boat is my hand-me-down stuff. For instance, when I got a Lowrance Pro, I've got a HDS Live here, so this 12 HDS Live is out of the helm of my boat when I upgraded to the HDS Pro. So that's there. It's got the active imaging transducer on the back here on one of the Marine Dynamics mounts, sitting there to give me all of the side image and all the mapping sort of stuff that I need. The other electronics on this boat is a Garmin LiveScope, but it's not a Garmin LiveScope that I've had to buy exactly for this boat. This is the one from the back of the Bass Cat. So it's all set up. Both of those have these. Come over here. I'll show you what makes it possible. It's this transducer plug and socket here by Rob Payne at Transducer Poles Australia. You can actually undo that LiveScope. I've got one of those sockets that goes to a black box in both the Bass Cat and in this boat here. So I can actually take that pole and the transducer off. I've got new power cords on there so I can take that unit off, and that whole system is transportable between boats. So normally I'm a LiveScope on the trolling motor sort of guy, but for this rig, I'm going to be a LiveScope on a pole sort of guy. Don't like it because every time you move, you've got to pull the pole up, but I'm going to have to live with it. Completing that Garmin ecosystem, I've got the Garmin 50-inch Force on the front of the boat here, and this is off my last boat. You can tell it's one of mine because it is scratched to buggery. But all of this system, the Force, the GPS map 12-inch, the LiveScope system, all runs between 10 and 32 volts. So they're all going to run on a 24-volt green marine lithium battery. Now, I've talked to Steve about that, and I don't actually want to run a 12-volt and a 24-volt battery in there, so I'm going to put an 80-amp 24-volt lithium battery in there, and I'm going to get a little regulator to take some of the power back to 12 volts. So it can run the pumps, it can run the lights, it can run the back sounder, But most of the fishing stuff is going to be on that 12 volt 80 amp hour battery, but then all of the traveling is going to be on the Avator. Let me show you the Avator batteries. It's a pretty cool system. You might see this in the boat. You think, what the hell is that big thing? This is actually the junction box that connects all of the batteries. So this junction box got a simple isolator on it. You can turn it on. It takes up to 4 battery feeds. So you can stay there, Nicole, if you like. Here, there are up to 4 of these gigantic wires because they carry 58 volts DC at quite high ampage to power that thing. So at the moment, I've got 2 in and I've got 2 batteries in the back here. Let me show you the batteries. I'll pull the lid off to show you those. And I can add the other 2 batteries when I work out what the weight distribution is. Now, the cool thing is the Mercury Avators, the batteries are designed to be exactly the same dimensions as a standard fuel tank. So this thing's built for a standard fuel tank, but 2 of those 2300 watt batteries fit in there. Am I going to run the other 2 batteries on the other side? Don't know. Am I going to end up having to build something up the front to get that weight distribution right? Don't know. I'm going to move those batteries all around in the first few months of operation, and when I want to lock them down, that's where they're going to be. It might be 1 battery, 1 battery, 1 battery, 1 battery. When we put them in, we'll find out what the performance is like. Remember, and I'm going to put a link to the video up here of this boat with the test model of that. But with all of that extra weight on the front, I've probably put an extra, with 2 more batteries and all that, I've probably put an extra 60 or 80 kilos in the boat. Don't know how it's going to go. Will it plane with it? Don't know. We're going to have to find out when we put it together. And also, all of this weight up the front, that weighs about 35 kilos. That weighs about 4 or 5 kilos. This is 2 or 3 kilos. The lithium battery is going to weigh about 20 kilos in the front of the boat there. So by changing the weight distribution, am I going to affect the performance? I don't know. Bass Electric guys will tell you the boats go faster when you pull most of the transom out of the water. But that's on a displacement hull. When the water displaces, you get turbulence at the back, it holds the boat back. But if this is planing, maybe it planes better with all the weight in the back. No one's probably going to be able to give me an answer on this. We're just going to have to work it out as we go. That's Tackle Fridays. That's how the little boat's going.